And there we are. We are live. A big edition of TigerBait Live tonight. And, of course, as the title of the show says, Walker Howard in the transfer portal. You got that news first on TigerBait.com today. And what does it mean? How did it happen? Why did it happen? I'm sure a lot of discussion. Of course, it's took off like wildfire all over the internet and our message boards on TigerBait, Twitter, Facebook, you name it. And so I'm going to try to get to as many of your questions and to what transpired in the last 6 weeks as to why it happened today. And got a lot of other things to talk about. LSU men's basketball, of course, lost another SEC game last night. Kim Mulkey, 16-0, ranked number 5 in the nation at Missouri tomorrow night, 6 o'clock. And she's got a big pack to PMAC and the unveiling of Simone Augustus' statue on Sunday. And she wants all of you guys there. She was imploring us in the media to spread the word, and it should be a fantastic Sunday. I think the weather's going to be nice. So there you go for Kim Mulkey. And Buddy had Jay Johnson on his show yesterday. We can talk a little LSU baseball. I think Buddy got some good stuff on that. So welcome in, Buddy.
Good to see you. Crazy day for you Tiger fans, but have faith. I think that as we get here, I'm starting to feel a little more normal. The holidays were kind of wacko with Christmas, New Year's, January 1. We saw the bowl game. We saw a blowout. Then we saw Monday night the SEC blowout TCU. And, of course, you and I have been talking about Walker Howard and what might happen. Mike and I talked about it and said, look, he may leave after spring. And I think you'll get into all the particulars, but basically he wanted to have an opportunity to do more than just work out with the scout team. Brian Kelly is over here trying to win games and compete with, you got to go through Tuscaloosa to win the West and go through Athens to win the SEC championship. And so, it's hard to worry about getting everybody reps because you're trying to get your best and then do the best. And we know that all three guys, as we discussed last week, had things to work on. But I'll kind of hand it off to you. And I quite frankly think that if you look at it after the smoke is cleared, it's not that bad a deal for both parties. I think this is going to be great for Walker, and I think it's going to be great for LSU because, look, it's hard to keep those quarterbacks, that many, all happy at the same time in 2023, Mike.
Absolutely. Show brought to you, of course, by Pride Roofing, the official roofing company of TigerBait.com. And one of a new sponsor that we're really excited about, Alumni Hall in Perkins Row. And, it's, look, those of you who've been TigerBait subscribers know, I say that, part of what went down today, there's a little bit of personal part of it because you can't follow a recruit as long as I did. And, I joked that I had never gone out and filmed a ninth grade quarterback before until Walker Howard. And I always talk about that first time at Turlings. He played 2 games in a row, a ninth grade game, and then switched jerseys and played the JV game, 2 games in a row on a Tuesday evening at Turlings. And then it was, when you see a guy as much as I filmed Walker and get close to the family, look, that's an LSU family through and through. That kid dreamt of playing for LSU. And so now you get to this point where, LSU, like we said on this show before, Brian Kelly and Joe Sloan and Denbrock did not expect to have Jaden Daniels back.
No.
I talked about it all season long. He was going pro.
Thought he'd be one and done.
Right, and that was his plan. That was, in fact, when LSU was recruiting him in the portal, Brian Kelly called Jamie Howard to let him know. Look, just want to let you know, we don't want you blindsided, but we're going to go after Jaden Daniels. He's a one and done, and that was the plan. And, of course, it's not the plan. Well, I think then you get the second half of the SEC championship game, and Garrett Nussmeier gets an opportunity. A little bit of bad, but a lot of good. And he's feeling his oats. And, of course, I thought, there was a doomsday scenario where you're wondering if, who would be there and needing to go to the portal to get a quarterback if Jaden went pro. But anyways, both of them come back. You're after the SEC championship game. And, of course, Jack Best hits the portal. Walker's childhood friend played ball together at St. Thomas More. And start talking about the spring and how the competition is going to work out. It was obvious week 1 of December that both were coming back, and people were saying, well, "Why are you saying that?" I said, "Because both quarterbacks are coming back." The Walker started worrying about reps in early December. So then he has a meeting like every player on the team at the end of the season. And Brian Kelly did a fantastic job, obviously by the looks of how many kids stayed and didn't get in the portal. I think as time has gone on and there's some other little things out there, I think he just saw where going through spring would put him even further behind, and now I think he's going to end up at TCU with an opportunity to play. And by the way, it's not about being the starter. It's not that. It's the opportunity to compete to be the number 2. And so I don't think there's a scenario where Nussmeier would transfer out under any circumstance.
So because he got an NIL deal after.
Right.
He got an NIL package. He stayed in the Cheez-It room. Look, a lot of people were enamored with Nuss, and we've got to give Nuss the credit for what he showed with his arm and his potential of going vertical. But he also has only thrown one more touchdown than INTs in his college career. So he's got to clean that up. But like you alluded to, let's make sure. Brian Kelly was very up front, and this has been a communication. And it is hard to juggle these 5 stars and these great quarterbacks who want to play. And I think TCU is a home run for him in a lot of ways. But just a little tidbit I picked up. And it kind of, I don't know, it kind of made me weird a little bit. I'm watching a game, in Purdue game, LSU scoring touchdowns. I see Jaden Daniels and Garrett Nussmeier high-fiving, hugging, and all that. I didn't see Walker involved in that trio. And so I think those two, let's give credit, Daniels and Garrett Nussmeier have bonded a lot this year.
Well, Jaden and Walker are very close.
They are.
I know that.
But Garrett and Jaden have gotten a lot closer, even though they're competing. And it's hard, Mike. Everybody competing for the same job.
So and then here's the other part of it. All right. Then you've got 5-star Colin Hurley coming at midterm.
No doubt.
So because of, and we've talked about this every week, because of the free COVID year, everybody's getting pushed back. Mm-hmm. So now everybody's getting pushed back. Then you have a Colin Hurley who actually goes forward.
Right.
He's supposed to be class of 25, reclassifies for 24. So initially we thought Nussmeier would be the one that was hitting the portal.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
He feels his oats after second half of the SC championship game. He's coming back, gets NIL deal. So that's it. It's and we'll get to some of your questions if there's something that we haven't addressed. But let me scroll up and get to some of them. Here we go. Gary Williams, we knew either Walker or Nuss was leaving eventually. Rick Kelly, hey, Mike, hypothetically, could Miles Brennan be drafted in the upcoming NFL draft even though he's out of football? Yeah, he could. He's draft eligible or a free agent. Kenny Futch, no Howard, no problem. Colin Hurley is on the way. Dwayne, official, Nuss bus, I believe. American Patriot, but Brian Kelly is not a quarterback coach. Poor decision on this one. Sam Canner, agree, poor decision. Nurse Court says, hello, guys. And Barry Barber, if he was so great, why is he still third team according to the coaching staff?
Well, let's answer that question, if we could. Do you put blame on Brian Kelly?
He's a true freshman, that's why.
Yeah.
No, I don't put any blame on him.
Do you think he could have handled it any differently?
I do not.
I don't either. And I think this is what we all have to come to the realization. Everybody was lamenting the fact that Jordan Burch signed with Carolina over LSU. Well, he goes to Oregon because of this. The quarterback from Wake Forest goes to Notre Dame because of this.
Well, I will say this.
It's changing, Mike. It's like the pros now, folks, without a salary cap.
I do think a lot of ears perked up in Lafayette and around when Brian Kelly said I had 2 elite quarterbacks coming back. Oh, and Walker Howard, however he said it. That was a little thing there that, I think got to some people in Lafayette.
Sure.
But I think the biggest issue is the reps with the number 2s in spring. And there's been talks, and it is was Nussmeier promised more opportunities with the number 2s and a good number of number 1s, and that was something that Walker was not going to get. So if all 3 of them stayed, and a lot of people say, well, if he was an LSU guy, he'd stay all the way, and I'd stay at LSU for 4 years if I got to play my 5th redshirt freshman year. That's just not the case anymore.
No, it isn't.
You can say, oh, I was, our generation or whatever. I get it. But that's not what they're doing anymore. And now you have the transfer portal. You have the free COVID year. You got 24 and 25-year-olds playing college football. I mean, Stetson Bennett's older than Joe Burrow.
Speaking of Stetson Bennett, Walker actually is listed as being bigger and heavier than Stetson Bennett. But Stetson Bennett played lights out. Congratulations to that walk-on. Look, the question I'm going to ask Brian Kelly next time I'm in the media room with you guys is seeing Georgia go back-to-back. First time since Alabama did in 11 and 12. Why in the hell did you want to jump into this swimming pool, specifically in the SEC West, and see how good you can swim? This is not a dog paddle conference. This is the IM. This is doing all 4 strokes at an incredibly Olympic elite level, and Kirby and Nick and all those guys know how to go above the table, under the table, around the table. It's unbelievable that this guy wanted to come have this job and compete against these guys. And here's the great thing, Tiger fans. LSU doesn't have the quarterbacks they had with Les Miles for that decade. So you hate to see Walker. I know it tears your heart up because you certainly have been there for him. You've been very fair. But this is life. This is a part of life that we can't change. And you know what? I hope.
And here's a part of it is
wish him the best. Or wish Walker the best.
Here's a part of it. Garrett Nussmeier has been great to TigerBait as well. He's great to everybody. Super kid.
Yeah.
It's not that. It's because of where Walker was at and seeing him and filming him and it just you can't help but I get close to a lot of the players. Quincy, and you see Emory Jones. I mean, you start filming these kids 3-4 years. You want to see it through. You want to see them play. And so,
well, I just said that because I think there's been a lot of overreaction in calling him go play with the Pussycats and all the other stuff.
And by the way, I think he would have an opportunity to go to Florida. He's very close to Napier. Went to ULL camps all those years. Was going to and sitting in Napier's office when he was in middle school. Okay. There's even some Ole Miss people wanting to get Walker over there.
Sure.
You can look at my Twitter feed when I sent the tweet out. All the fan bases, trying to alert their coaching staff. Look who's go get him. We need him. I do know this, and I put it on my message board earlier. If you're a TigerBait subscriber, you saw this a few hours ago. I absolutely think that the reason why TCU is out front, and it ain't just because Jack Besh is there, is because he doesn't want to compete against his teammates at LSU. He doesn't want to have to face LSU every year because he loves LSU that much. So I think that's part of it.
Billy Napier, I don't think will be at Florida in 3 years. Sorry, Lafayette people. I'm not a Billy Napier guy. I didn't think
most
LSU.
Lafayette people said the stuff that he got away with in the Sun Belt ain't going to fly at Florida. I think he's going to be another Zucker Muschamp.
And Lane Kiffin tries to get out of Ole Miss every year. So, I mean, I understand the offenses, and especially Kiffin. But
and by the way, Luke Altmaier, who was offered at the same camp that Walker was, transferred out of Ole Miss. And they all know each other. That's the Howards and the Altmaiers know each other. So, yeah, you're right, though. Kiffin's going to be someone that they're going to be wondering if he's going to leave every year. Big Cojones Kelly, hey, Mike and Buddy, and fellow Tiger Baiters, go Tiger. Rick Kelly says hit the like button. Absolutely. If you're enjoying the show, please do us a favor. Hit that like button. Share the show to your social media, Facebook, Twitter. Text it out to your friends. Very much appreciative when you guys do that. And, of course, we're brought to you each and every week by Pride Roofing, the official roofing company of TigerBait. Buddy, just real quick, LSU baseball. what did Jay Johnson have to say yesterday? Softball started practice today.
Yeah.
Baseball starts what day next week?
Yeah, next week sometime, of course, the schedule's coming out. I mean, Media Day coming up end of January and mid-February to start. Look, they are loaded. And I think that, Skip Bertman's had it happen before, Paul Maneri. When you are preseason number one, now obviously there might be some polls that have other teams, but there are going to be more than one poll preseason number one. How do you go about that, knowing that you're that good? You still got to stay healthy. You still got to have the rotation. But, man, getting Wes Johnson from Minnesota in the big leagues and all the new influx of pitchers. Jordan Thompson going to start at shortstop, plenty of catchers. Dylan Cruz, Tommy White. I mean, they are loaded.
Is this a deal where the only thing that can derail them is injuries?
Yeah, no doubt about it. Probably so. But it's going to – I will say this, and I told Coach Johnson, he will finally see what the box is like when it's rocking. And on the flip side, pack the PMAC, sell out for Simone on Sunday, statue unveiled 12:45, game 2 o'clock. That game tomorrow at 6, you mentioned it, Missouri, that's a game they could lose. Missouri only lost LSU last year in overtime by 2.
Absolutely. If you haven't been to a women's game, you need to go. They're and I said it on Buddy's show earlier today when I was on there briefly, but I owe Buddy one.
Oh, it was all right.
But we can see it in our algorithms and page views and stats on our YouTube. The excitement for women's basketball is exponentially higher than men's basketball right now. And that's not a knock at Matt McMahon, but best start, 16-0, number 5 in the country, and it's a bullseye for that mid-February game in Columbia, South Carolina.
Got a memo from LSU Sports. Brian Kelly will no longer be doing dancing videos with players. He is now 0 for 2. Danny Lewis from Westgate ended up going to Bama. Of course, Walker Howard from St. Thomas More ends up going where we think it'll be TCU. I do think TCU makes the best sense because, once again, the defense in the Big 12 appreciably more suited for him and Jack. I do think that Walker is going to have to get bigger and stronger, and I think that you and I obviously are waiting to see that happen. But, look, he's going to be a great one. It just didn't work out this time. Wish him the best of luck. But no more dancing videos from Brian Kelly, 0 for 2.
I will say this, though. I think I might shock some people. LSU obviously was the destination, but I think TCU finished number 2 for him back then. I think TCU was his second choice.
Oh, okay, originally. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, look, bottom line is as you mentioned with Colin Hurley, the point I was trying to make, Mike, is that with Les Miles, you were struggling to see that quarterback position. Now LSU's dealing with 3 and 4 quarterbacks. It's a hell of a problem to have. I'd much rather be on this end than fighting between Jarrett Lee and Justin Jefferson, who, by the way, are the last freshmen that went and finished their career at LSU. All the other quarterbacks, boom. Of course, they wasn't for 4 or 5 years.
Yep. Rick Kelly says, hit the like button. Travis Wilburn, this is disappointing. Palermo Trapani, only question is who is quarterback 2 in 24 and 25 between Collins and Curley. Whoever is not quarterback is not sticking around. Well, I mean, you play all these scenarios. I thought we had a pretty good handle it for most of the fall, and then we absolutely didn't. Who's going to be the quarterback they go for the class of 2025? Does Ricky Collins shock everybody? Everybody just dismisses him and acts like he's a stopgap guy. You just never know how that's going to play out.
Well, and I got to ask you, do they bring a quarterback in the portal? Because if Jaden Daniels would get hurt, serious injury, he's tough as hell. We learned that this year. But if he got hurt, it'd be Nuss and Ricky Collins. Do you try to bring in another guy?
And that's the other part of it. I mean, knock on wood. I mean, God forbid there's some, steps off a curb the wrong way going to camp, going to class.
Sure. Yeah.
Rips an Achilles.
Ask Marcus Randall.
And then Walker Howard's done transferred out.
Yeah.
Absolutely could be a mess. Jimmy Magoo, I haven't even decorated my Mardi Gras tree, and Howard goes in the portal. Yes, I do. Rick Kelly wants to know, Mike, do you think TCU is a landing spot for Walker? Jeff Garman, yeah, I'm bummed out, but we'll get over it. Linebacker depth. Yep, Jerry. But also, too, realize that the defense that LSU runs, how often do you actually see, you've got your edge rusher types. How often do you actually see, three old school linebackers out on a football field?
Well, I think the concern is inside.
Yeah.
Look, you gotta stop the A gap, and you can't let people run downhill on you. And with the influx of the D linemen coming in, Mike, there's been so many of them. We know Jalen Lee and some of the other guys, but we're going to have a class here next week to go through all of the players that LSU has gotten in from the portal. By the way, 3 weeks from tonight, another signing period, the second signing period.
No recruiting visitors this weekend. It's move-in weekend. And then pretty soon we're going to be hearing about a junior day event. And then we're going to get it. You brought it up before we went live. Spring practice date. Spring football practice will be here before you know it.
Whit Weeks looked good in the All-Star game. He's not as big as his brother Wes, but that brother tandem will be out there. Harold Perkins, Greg Penn the third, a couple of others. Certainly you would think they would go and try to land a linebacker at some point. Portal closes a week from today, opens back up in May, right?
Yep. Nurse Court says, best of luck to Walker. No way this ended any different. One or the other was gone. Juwan Hearns Nuss is not sitting for another year, and so he's gone as well. I'm reserving my opinion on Brian Kelly and how he's managing this quarterback situation. It's not looking good so far.
Well, if you get an NIL deal, do you think you're going to have that mentality, Mike? Nuss got taken care of. Jaden Daniels taken care of. Harold Perkins taken care of. You take care of their stars. This is the day and age that we live. If you don't like it, go follow soccer or something else. But people, that's, no disrespect to that guy, but I don't see Nuss going anywhere. Those two are inseparable right now. And here's the $64 million question. Are they going to be smart enough to figure out how to play both those guys and not alienate either one during the season? Because Nuss brings an incredibly different vertical passing attack. And if you would be able to have a crystal ball and know when to put in each guy, that'd be unstoppable.
Well, the thing about it is, if you're really thinking ahead to like the 2024 season, how much real playing time can you get Nussmeier this year?
Yeah.
To know that you're going to be going into 24 with a quarterback that's still not going to make those mistakes.
But it was nice seeing him come in when nobody expected it in the Citrus Bowl.
Yeah.
Agreed?
Yeah. Travis Wilburn, this is about Walker thinking he can't beat out Nuss for a backup now or starting 24. It could be Kelly beating Nuss or Walker. I think Travis, if you look, I could be wrong, but I think if Walker Howard absolutely knew definitively that he was going to have the same quality of reps with the second team and whatever amount with the ones that Nussmeier would get, if it was equal and he actually had an opportunity to compete for the number 2 spot, I think he would have stayed. And they would not guarantee that.
And does he deserve that? That's what the question that a lot of people are asking. Look, the third-team right guard would sound foolish if he went into the office and said, hey, man, I want to play in the spring game. I want to get this amount of reps with a third-team right guard. But when quarterback, we know, most important spot on the field, you got to have a good one. LSU's got 3 or 4. I'm telling LSU fans, relax. This is a good problem to have. With Hurley coming in, you ought to be thinking LSU's going to have great quarterback. And don't beat up Jaden Daniels. The guy's going to give him a chance to improve.
And here's the other part. If he was absolutely old school and says, you know what, if it takes me to my 5th year to be the starter, and he would have stayed, and you had 4 of them there, and then you get to the end of August, and it's time to get ready for Florida State, and they say, hey, you're going over there with the scout team and run against the number 1 defense. You think a kid wants to do that 2 years in a row?
No.
No way in hell. He doesn't want to.
I think.
And then you have Ricky Collins that's going to be doing that.
Yeah.
So would he be there running a scout team with Ricky, or would he be over there standing next to Nussmeier and Jaden but really not getting any reps because it's game week. Because the number 2 guy doesn't really get hardly any reps. So how do you it's the whole deal. How do you develop? And I think that was part of the discussions that was had last month when Brian Kelly and Walker and Jamie and all them met.
I'm just hoping Nurse Court doesn't get in the transfer portal. She made a lot of friends with that Florida State group last year. I hope she doesn't get a free trip and gets into the Florida State portal before that game. Boy, what a game that's going to be. 2 top 10 teams. It's looking like Florida State, LSU could be 5, 8, 6, 10, 7, 9. Those 2 teams are going to be in the top 10. Great start for 23.
Barry Barbier, where can Howard go if he wants to start next year? I don't think it's about him starting next year. He just wants to be at least a number 2. But he'll have an opportunity at TCU.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Nurse Court. No way it wasn't hard for Walker Howard to do this. It was absolutely tough. Sure. He is agonized over this. If truth be told, I had the story written that he was sitting in the portal on December 5th.
Walker's got the same problem I have.
All I had to do was change the date on it and put his Citrus Bowl stats.
Not everybody's as patient as some people. And listen, let's be honest. This was you're following his dad's legacy, which had a lot of ups and downs and all that. Did Verge Rosberry's sons follow that legacy? No, they went Auburn and Notre Dame. I just think when you throw in the fact that Jamie and the legacy, he wanted to prove everybody this was going to turn out different. He just didn't get the chance. It's not sour grapes. It's reality. You wish him the best. And if Brian Kelly made a mistake, then we'll find out in due time. Nothing else you can say. But Nussmeier is not hitting the frickin' portal. Stop with all that BS.
Dane Bergeron, it's Perilou's fault.
Oh, Perilou.
Rick Kelly, Mike, how fast is Walker? Because he looked really fast in the bowl. He's legit 4.6s. He was the fastest guy on STM's team, except for one wide receiver his junior year, and he might have been the fastest his senior year. He is faster than Jack Besh. So, and I was there at the LSU camp when he ran 4.6s back to back. Back when Moffitt was running the stopwatch. There you go. Travis says, then compete. Yeah, it's we can bounce this around all day long. I'm going to scroll down. I think a lot of this stuff we've already covered. Jeff Garman. Nuss is one snap away from being the starting quarterback, just like last year. And that's one thing we've said. Boy, Jaden Daniels sure is tough. He might not be have the amount of weight on him you'd like, but man, he took some hits. He ain't afraid of hits. I mean, considering the amount of running he does, I mean, how can you not say he's not one tough kid?
And he was not at top speed in the Citrus Bowl.
But it's also the law of averages, isn't it?
What's that?
Like what this comment's saying, it's a law of averages. As soon as you take too many hits,
absolutely.
If you drive a vehicle for a living, and you log a lot of miles, you're a lot higher chances of getting in a wreck.
Speaking of that, come on, Trucking by Casper. LSU's going to be okay if Trucking by Casper comes in here in the next 20 minutes.
Yeah, I haven't seen him yet. Stephen Miller says Rashada's dad said those rumors weren't true. Okay. Yeah, that was big news right before the Walker Howard.
What?
He wanted out of his national letter of intent.
Well, it's supposedly they don't have the money to pay him. Is that what I'm hearing?
I don't know.
Billy Napier is going to struggle at Florida, and I think you're going to see it just like you saw it this year.
Or maybe it's not true now because somebody got Venmo'd some money.
Okay. Well, I use Zelle instead of Venmo, but anyway.
There you go. You mentioned the rankings. You think that was fair where LSU finished?
16?
Yeah.
Trivia. Who's smart out there? First person to come in. What was the first CFP ranking for LSU this year. First one of the year. Now, of course, that AP poll was 16 at the end. You remember the first one?
Go ahead.
Bo Derek. You remember her?
A 10.
10, yeah. I know you young cats don't know Bo Derek, but look, LSU, and that surprised everybody, remember? And look, what he accomplished in year one, but seriously, aren't you intrigued that when you see all these SEC champions, and he got beat a couple times badly by Alabama, to want to come in here and jump in this water and to see the potential. And I think, Mike, you're going to have 2 deep this year. In 24, you're going to have 3 deep, and that's what it takes if you play against Georgia and Bama and the big boys. They are 3 deep across the board at every spot.
It was Monday afternoon, or maybe it was Monday evening, and Brian Lazar said, have you looked at Georgia's football schedule for next year?
Oh, goodness.
I mean, that is unbelievable.
Cupcakes.
That is a cakewalk.
Mm-hmm.
Man, they've got the easiest path I've ever seen for any. Look, you've got the SEC schedule. Yeah. Okay. But they've got the easiest SEC schedule I've ever seen. And then the four major cupcakes. They don't have a non-conference game that's even will break a sweat. Not with their talent.
And for the first time, Kirby went into the portal, got a really good wide receiver from Missouri, another good one from Mississippi State. So they're playing the game.
But they're like Florida. And where they get to say, well, it's not our fault that Florida State hasn't been good, all these years. When they were good, we ended our season with them. So that was always Florida's reason for why they'd open up with Furman and, But when was the last time Georgia Tech was anything? And even when they were something, they weren't much of really, maybe for Georgia when they were struggling a bit. But, yeah, that Georgia football schedule, he ought to get hammered all off season for that. But he learned from the best, didn't he? He learned how to schedule too, didn't he? From Nick.
Well, did you hear his potty mouth fired up talk before the game? It leaked. Did you hear it?
Yeah.
I mean, look, I wish I didn't say the F-bomb as much as I do. And I'm going to try to give up saying that for Lynn again. But, man, it was like a, ferocious bear just waiting to maul somebody. And you have to do that to get these guys to sacrifice their body. As we know, good news, Damar Hamlin went home today. So thank the good Lord. I know all of you out there praying for him. We don't want to see football ruined by those kind of happenings, and that was unprecedented. We don't ever want to see it again. But like you alluded to, Georgia's got an easy schedule. Alabama, Nick is trying to win one before he goes to be on ESPN with those guys. And then you got all these other great coaches in the league. I mean, this is a lot of fun, but you got to have money. And guess who else is bellying up to the bar now? Florida State has done an incredible job in the portal. And the great thing about what's happened with NIL, Mike, you're keeping some seniors coming back. Rattler at South Carolina, quarterback at Utah. So because they're getting that money for that last year.
Absolutely. James Wilkerson, Buddy has the best and most correct takes on LSU football. All right, James, thank you for that nice comment on the Bud Man.
James.
There you go.
Hope you're having a good night, man. Look, I just tell you what I'm thinking. And, oh, by the way, we remind you, Mike, that we told people to start the year with the show with Pride Roofing. They were going to have a lot of pride in that LSU football team. Or, as we look back, and we knew this thing with Walker was going to come to a head. It was either going to be Nuss or Walker. But as it's all come to a head now, what do you think about this great sponsor?
Absolutely. Well, you segue. I was getting it lined up. So let's go. Let's hear from Mike and Alex, and we'll talk about them on the other side.
Hi, I'm Michael.
I'm Alex.
At Pride Roofing, we handle commercial and residential work.
TPO, shingle and metal inventory.
We got it. Property still in disarray from the recent hurricanes and hailstorms. Insurance claims?
No problem. But Pride Roofing is the official roofer at TigerBait.com.
In fact, notify TigerBait and we'll give you a free roof inspection. And on top of that, you get a free year subscription. Call 855-PRIDE-16. Se habla Espanol.
There you go, Mike Faraday, Alex Martinez, Pride Roofing, right there on Florida Boulevard in Albany, Louisiana. Growing like gangbusters. Call them at 855-PRIDE-16, whether it's your commercial or residential roof. Want to know how much it's going to cost to fix it? Think you're getting close to needing a new roof? Call them up, get a free estimate. And if you say TigerBait when you call 855-PRIDE-16, they're going to pay for you to have TigerBait Premium for 1 year. And they're paying for it. They pay for it. So you cannot beat that deal. And anywhere in South Louisiana, Gulf Coast, Mississippi, all the way up to Jackson, Mississippi, like I say, all the way to Vinton, Louisiana, and north up to Alexandria, Pride Roofing has you covered with locations all throughout the state of Louisiana. And, of course, really big in the Baton Rouge area, North Shore. And swing by their location right there on Florida Boulevard in Albany. You'll see their manufacturing capabilities, all the shingles that they have in stock, and really proud to be associated with Mike and Alex's great company, Pride Roofing.
Yeah, echo those sentiments. Look, folks, commercial, residential, metal roofs really blowing up right now, starting a new year. Team, the acronym for team, together everyone accomplishes more. That's what these guys believe in. They get there early. They take care of their business. They get out of there. You're all cleaned up. You take great pride because the next time you got a tsunami, or a hurricane, a tornado, a flood, you're going to be okay. And they communicate, and you can trust them. Once again, Jorge Martinez in Baton Rouge, the Government Street location, 225-275-2041, or as Mike said, and thank Mike for hooking me up with these guys and meeting these guys because they are top-notch, and seriously, you will have pride dealing with them. We told you Brian Kelly was going to bring back Pride to LSU, and I think if we look here now, and I was teasing with Nurse Court, she's not going anywhere. She is one of the most loyal and crazy and this is part of her, a big part of her life. A lot of them like that. But this guy and him and Alex, we're keeping Alex away from Hollywood, right? Mm-hmm. But what a great job Mike has done. Give him an opportunity, folks.
Absolutely. Dane Bergeron with a super chat. Thank you, Dane. What alcoholic made LSU's schedule for 23?
That is a great question. Have you seen that thing? It looks like a drunk made it. There's a bunch of road games early.
It's so odd to see Arkansas early.
And Ole Miss early. And
Army's a tough team.
Yeah, but LSU plays 5 of the last 6 games at home. Of course, you have the obligatory open date before Bama and the 1 road game, but some really weird games. And to show you the genius of the SEC, talking about Georgia's schedule, you know when it's FU'd is when you got to go play at Missouri again. And the last time LSU played at Missouri, what happened to the quarterback? Oh, he got hurt. Mm-hmm. One of those injuries that screwed him up for life. So my point is that don't act like the SEC, you got your act together with the schedule, because what Georgia's got and what LSU's got back at Missouri, a lot of lobbying and money under the table with this stuff.
Brian Smith, Anderson, Hilton, and Neighbors are deep threat guys. We need a quarterback that can stretch the field. That's going to be something that they work on extensively all off-season, spring. That vertical passing game has to get better. And that's why Jayden Daniels is coming back. He wants to develop that and get that better. Mike, understand that Cavalier will travel to 2-time state defending champs Picayune High this year.
How about that? Big change at Cavalier. David Semino going over to Central to replace Sid. So I know you keep up with all the high schools. Cavalier with a new coach. What do you think?
Look, it's a job. It's a job where you should win all the time. I mean, the talent is there, and
who's that DB that's a freshman or a sophomore? That kid looks good, man.
Yeah. Now I'm drawing a blank, but
we'll shoot him a bunch this year.
Yeah, it's that's a great job. I mean, a lot of people wanted it, but also the coaches that a lot of people thought would be on their list. Brewitt Zachary, Dunham, they're all staying put. They're not. Dale Weiner doesn't. They all got great jobs, so it gives an opportunity to two guys in a row, young jobs. But Semino to leave Cavalier for Central was the part that was a little bit of a scratcher. But, a lot of people say it has to do with being a part of the, getting retirement and everything with the state that you don't get at a private school.
I'll just say this. He's a better fit at Central than Catholic High. And I think everybody
I've heard that
agree
too.
with that.
Yep. Carl the Cat Dunn. Georgia got Hostess to sponsor their schedule.
Carl the Cat called into the radio show after being off the show for years. I told this story last week, Mike, but I had a high school coach tell me this year that officiating in one of the playoff games was so bad, he wishes he had Carl the Cat and his 3 brothers calling the same game. I did not know Cat had 3 brothers that refereed and were part of the group. But Cat's a great guy, and he's not getting older; he's getting better.
Edward O. Nuss bus driver says Walker left because of Nuss, not Jaden. I think that's probably fair. It's who's gonna be who has a chance to be the best chance to be number 2. American Patriot, TCU is going to be bad this year. I didn't even look to see what are they losing.
Well, wait a minute. A lot of times nowadays, Mike, when they say bad, it's been in a good way, like badass. Look, JoJo Earl from Alabama. They got a running back. They got Jack Besh. They got it. Now we're assuming that Walker's going to end there, and of course you've said it. You think that's the best spot. By the way, we did not coordinate having the blue shirts because we have the Blues, but it is something personal to you, and you've made this point clear tonight. Walker doesn't want to participate and compete against LSU. He's got relationships with those guys.
Oh, this tore him up. I think there's no doubt this was very emotional. It was not knee jerk. I think he mulled this over for 5 weeks, hard, and it was not something that he just did willy-nilly, I assure you. All right, let me scroll up and get some more of your comments. Nuss is a gamer, says Edo is the Nuss bus driver.
Krabs, great job this year interacting. Of course, I don't read all that jibber jabber on the chat, but I know Edo Krabs has been loyal to you this year, Mike.
Absolutely, he's one of our regulars. Guys, hit that like button if you're enjoying the show. Very much appreciate when you guys do that, and spread the word about TigerBait. Hit that subscribe button and notification bell. American Patriot with a super chat. Thank you. He says, I hope Neighbors has a better year than Butte did. I don't think that's going to be hard. Malik Neighbors is fantastic, and I think he's going to be even better next year.
Look, I stand corrected. I was curious as to why he did not get another chance to field punts. And then in the bowl game, Nuss throws this beautiful rainbow look with this incredible arc, and it goes right through his damn hands again. So maybe he doesn't have that perception hand-eye. What bottom line is that I think Neighbors, he did get 1,000 yards at the end of the season this year. I think he blows up is receiver number 1. Brian Thomas Jr., I think this is a year, believe it or not, this is his money year. He has a blow-up year, has a Terrace Marshall year. He goes pro. Got to pray and hope that Chris Hilton can stay healthy. He's such a great kid.
He's super kid. Love his dad. I really hope Chris Hilton can finally have good things happen.
And Aaron Henderson, look, if he is the answer at punt return, then you talk about Jaylen Brown catching a touchdown pass, Shelton Sampson, Kyle Parker, Kyle Preen, Kyron Lacey. I mean, LSU, as we said, they have to get the football to their wide receivers because the wide receivers are deeper and better than the running backs, Mike.
Absolutely. In fact, one of our participants in the show tonight brings up a good point. In fact, let me get the right number. That's exactly right. He says, y'all are just hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, notification bell. We're at 16,990 subscribers. I only need 10 more YouTube subscribers to hit the 17,000 mark. Guys, if you're not subscribed, just hit that subscribe button right there on our YouTube channel and that notification bell. Help us get over 17,000. I bet we can do it tonight. Let's see.
shout out to O'Danny Girl. Hadn't mentioned her lately, and all those loyal Tiger fans. Look, I told everybody, Mike, that the men would have a sellout in basketball. That's not going to happen. They laid an egg last night. They play Alabama on the road at Bama Saturday. They host Auburn next week during this Wednesday show from 6 to 8. So if you go next Wednesday, it'll be a little after 8, and then host Tennessee next Saturday. Oh, man, it's a brutal schedule. So I think
you said you had something spicy on that one.
Well, I just said that they could really be like 1-7, 1-8 here in a couple 3 weeks.
Yeah,
and I think that Coach McMahon has got to take Juice Hill off the floor because he's not cutting it right now. They had a 5-star kid come in there last night and hit a couple threes, and he hadn't been playing much. Had some injuries. It looks like a tough year. But guess what? Brian Kelly started off. What did we say after LSU and Tennessee? Are they going to win 6 or 7? I just don't think McMahon has the firepower to turn it around. And they need one of those players-only meeting. I think that too much me instead of playing together as a team.
Well, and that was the fear. When you brought in so many new faces.
No chemistry.
Right.
And no point guard. Jeez.
Rick Kelly, Mike, who is the fastest on the team? Neighbors, Hilton, or Anderson? Well, that'd be Hilton. Of those three especially. Yeah, it'd be Chris Hilton. I think Anderson would probably be third behind Neighbors. But, Anderson's what, 5'8", 5'9"? What do they list him at, 180?
185, whatever.
Yeah. Man, I can't wait to see him.
Yeah.
Nurse Court, NCAA stuff still coming, huh? On basketball, I mean. The thought is that that's not going anywhere, and LSU's going to be fine. They're going after Will Wade. So we're waiting to see what's going to happen, what Will Wade ends up getting.
So you think show cause with Wade?
I think so.
Yeah, I do too. I think originally I predicted 5 years, but hopeful it's not. And look, all of you Wade fans, we understand what you liked about the guy, but you got to give Matt McMahon a little bit of a chance. The one thing that I posed on the show today that I think is a pertinent question, are you going to have the sugar daddies for basketball to step up? Because we don't talk about NIL basketball as much as we talk about NIL football. And if it's 3 or 4 or 5 studs that you got to bring in here, you got to have some sugar daddies. And I don't know if they've got them, Mike. They're ranked 48th in this class right now in recruiting. So got to figure out a way to get more talent in here.
Archangel on War says Jaylen Brown is faster than Neighbors. Boy, Jaylen Brown looked good too.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Holy smokes.
It's going to be – and look, this is why you asked the question, Mike. Do you think they would consider playing 2 quarterbacks if Daniels cannot deliver the football and has some of those brain fart games where he threw it for 85 and 86 yards? That, to me, is when you bring him in. If he's having one of those days, you put Nussmeier in.
Yep. Reed's trying so hard.
Jalen Reed?
Yeah.
Yeah, 5-star freshman. He's been playing a little nervous lately.
Yeah, Rodney Kraft, LSU's 3 years away from making the NCAA.
Baskets?
Yeah.
Let's go 1 year at a time, but they won't make it this year, doesn't look like.
I think LSU women's basketball can be a Final Four team. And so we've had this discussion, who's going to win the national title first, Jay Johnson or Mulkey. And I think Jay Johnson has a good chance to do it this year if they stay healthy. You've heard it. You've talked to people. Talked to Kendall Rogers. I know a former LSU baseball player who played for Skip Burtman and is knee-deep in following baseball, says that this is the best LSU roster from top to bottom he's ever seen.
And I predicted that they would hit over 120 home runs, and Jay Johnson had no problem with it. They are going to take some balls out.
Dude, he likes it. Have you seen the promotions they're doing?
Yeah.
They're embracing all this stuff.
This is what you like. Kim Mulkey embraced it. Brian Kelly embraced it. Of course, Jay Johnson's embraced it. But once again, all those guys have been here. And ladies, of course, Coach Mulkey, I agree with you. LSU's never won a game in the Final Four, men's or women's. That's going to soon be out of here. But how cool would that be to have Kim Mulkey bring a national championship to Baton Rouge, and you having the statue with Simone, which they never won one.
for those of you who went, and look, I'm a newbie to women's basketball. I never covered women's basketball until Kim got here, but I absolutely loved. That was fun. It's almost like I'm covered women's basketball, and it's like a little bit of a diversion from football and recruiting, but with that because of women, they get to host that Jackson State game, and of course they ran out of gas with Ohio State, and of course injury bug hit Mulkey. Can you imagine this year being able to host and what that PMAC could be like this year?
They will have a sellout. They're trying for, once again, the sellout this Sunday, but I think they're going to get there. Playing Carolina here in less than a month, Mike.
That Jackson State game was fun.
It was.
Jackson State was very good.
And I know she appreciates the coverage you've given her.
Yep. Kenny Futch says they're both going to win it in 23. Yesterday when I went to Mulkey's, was it yesterday? Yeah, Mulkey's press conference yesterday. Before Mulkey was running late, Baton Rouge traffic got her. And,
imagine that.
Yeah, it was funny because she's never late. She's like Baton Rouge traffic set her back. But anyways, so while we're waiting, Grant is the SID for women's basketball, said is there starting to be some buzz and build up for that South Carolina game. And, I'm looking at the dates. It didn't dawn on me. That's Super Bowl Sunday.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
And ESPN told him that it's usually their most viewed women's game of the year. That Super Bowl Sunday slot. And because people are getting together, they're surfing channels, and they stumble upon a good basketball game, and they end up watching it. So that's going to be a big day. So you can have instead of watching 8 hours of NFL pregame, you can watch the LSU women and have your Super Bowl party.
What time is that game? Do you know, LSU?
I want to say that's at 2 o'clock.
Okay, all right.
Don't hold me to that, guys.
Yeah.
But go check. But it's Super Bowl Sunday.
And all those coaches have embraced the expectations that the fan base has. And we know baseball is going to be through the roof this year, rightfully so.
Yeah, this is a good chance, Bab. And Mike, did you discuss volunteer baseball coaches are now going to be full-time assistants that passed today, and that starts July?
I asked Jay about that yesterday, and he said it's soon to be coming, and, of course, a day later. Yeah, thanks, Chance, for bringing that up. That is great. What we're talking about, this got voted down. The third, I had a caller who wanted to ask me, Jay, can you get the third coach an NIL deal since he couldn't get the regular contract, whatever, and they used to all the way stuff him in the camp and let him make a little money there. But they did finally get that passed today, so that is good.
And I think that those coaches have pretty much known for months that it was going to happen.
Takes place, I want to say July 1 of this year is what I thought I saw.
Yep. Scrolling up to get some more of your comments, guys. Nurse Court says, I want the NIL Hannibal jersey. What's up with basketball?
Holy cow. I made the joke about Hannibal. You'd look like Hannibal if you wore 0 and played for Matt McMahon. But guard play is an important part of it, and he played two great games going to the hole and making people pay. But the last couple of games, he's picked up the dribble and passed out to other players, and they just have not had a lot of cohesion. Shot selection has left a lot to be desired.
All right, guys, I want to talk about Alumni Hall, one of our new sponsors. Glad to have them on board with us, and you've really got to go check out their shop in Perkins Row. If it's made by LSU, they've got it, and they've got the good stuff, not the stuff that's going to fall apart in your dryer. Swing by Perkins Row and visit Alumni Hall. Best apparel for family. They've got hats, drinkware, wall art, you name it. LSU students, faculty, and military receive 10% off in the store, and you can earn cash back with their Hall Pass rewards. Go check out Alumni Hall in Perkins Row. Shop anytime at alumnihall.com. Alumni Hall, the ultimate LSU Tiger shopping experience. And I talked to the folks at Alumni Hall. They're about to be doing some stuff with the LSU women basketball, possibly some autograph signings in the store. So that's going to be some big stuff to be on the lookout for.
And they're chomping at the bit. We keep talking about winning a national championship. They're chomping at the bit to wait to that happen because it is a big sale for them.
You guys did it. You gave me 17,001 subscribers to our YouTube channel.
Congratulations, buddy.
And,
Great. A lot of work.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for putting us over the top by hitting that subscribe button, notification bell. And let's get to some more of these comments. We got some minutes left here. Guys, hit that like button if you're enjoying the show. Very much appreciative of you guys hitting that button. It helps us with the algorithm. Mike, changing subjects, LSU has up to date 45 returning scholarship guys, plus 25 high school signees, plus 9 portal equals 79. What positions need portal attention? Linebacker for sure. Anything else? And who are some of the targets? Is there still possibly a center? Would there maybe be a really good tight end, or do they feel that you've had success with young tight ends? Are you fine there? I don't think there's going to be a running back now. Why would you need a running back?
Yeah, you got 6 now.
Yeah, I thought all season you would need a running back. No. Not going to need a quarterback. So, linebackers and maybe a center.
By the way, I thought I saw J.K. Johnson official, right?
He did. That did
Okay,
happen.
so the corner from Ohio State made it official. Anthony Bradford went pro. Walker Howard going to the transfer portal. Look, there's going to be some more movement. So I think as far as a hardcore number, like you alluded to, I think the biggest concern for people right now is linebacker, and we shall see. But, man, look, running back with Emory coming back, Noah Cain with 10 rushing touchdowns. I still think you want to see a little more explosion at that spot. And how about Hurd with Anthony Bradford leaving? He had another year. I'm sure he got whispers that, Henry Jones could move over to my spot and Lance Hurd can come over and play right tackle because it's going to be hard to beat Will at left tackle. He kind of said, look, now they're going to put a weight clause in that contract, but if he loses a little weight, Bradford's got a chance to make it at the next level. Absolutely.
And look, you ain't got to burn them all up. Hold on to those spots. You don't know what you're going to need after spring. Knock on wood. You don't know what injuries you're going to have. You might think you have a position secure and like what you got, and then you get to evaluating and working with them in the spring with these new faces, and realize that no, you're not. I'm not comfortable with what we've got here. We need one more. It's always good to have multiple spots, and look, that's one thing that I don't think you have to worry about. Brian Kelly and his staff's ability to manage the roster. They know what they're doing, and I think Polian takes some heat. I think that's where he is valuable to Brian Kelly.
There's no doubt about it, and I think there will be more departures from this roster after spring football. It's just it's pretty much a common known fact. So this thing, look, I got to give Kirby credit. Kirby, I used to call him Kirby, I'm not so smart. Now I got to call him Kirby, I'm really smart, back-to-back, and they're prohibitive favorites for 3 in a row. But he said a couple things that were interesting. Recruit players that absolutely freaking hate to lose. Man, Javion Toviano, I can't wait to see what he's going to be like as a Tiger and some of those other guys, high-character guys coming in. And the second thing, you got to have in today's game of college football a quarterback with mobility, because everybody's got the pressure from the edge and everybody's got cover corners. So I think there's a lot to that. And if you look, Daniels, Nuss, and Ricky all have mobility, as well as Walker. Walker's going to be fine.
American Patriot with another super chat. Congratulations on the 17,000. Thank you, American Patriot, for the super chat. Hit the like button and hit the subscribe button, notification bell. Also, go to TigerBait and subscribe. Try us out for $1. We've got a lot of recruiting content, got a lot of team coverage. Like I said, we've got all your press conferences. I'm on the message boards day and night. Hit me up with questions there, and I'll get to them as soon as I see them. Put Mike in the title, Mike ? And I'm constantly there lurking to see if there's any questions I need to get to there. And we got some pretty good threads over there right now, particularly today with the Walker Howard news. And so go to TigerBait, subscribe, be a part of our community. Our Tiger Den Premium message boards is blowing up and getting a lot more traffic. H-Town Creole, go Tigers. I've heard nothing but positive things about Ricky on the national media, plus Hurley comes in next year. Yeah, I think a lot of people are discounting Ricky Collins, and let's see how he develops and see what happens there in a couple of years. But Colin Hurley is a beast.
Man, I tell you what, I've never seen a kid so eloquent, whether he's writing or speaking, and the future is bright for him. But look, this is a good problem to have. I keep reiterating, LSU fans are used to seeing, struggles at quarterback and pitching back to the tailback 25 times. I think that one of the things that everybody remembers, Brian Kelly, Joe Sloan, all those guys, Den Brock, I have to say, man, you talk about Georgia. Did you love the game Todd Monken called? And I want to see LSU watch that tape and have some of the same plays that they have for Brock Bowers in 2023 for Mason Taylor and the rest of the tight ends. LSU's going to use the tight end a lot more. Man, take that tape and cut it up. They called some great plays, but Monken's a hell of a coordinator. I'd love to see Denbrock be as good as he is.
D.D. Louisiana, with Michaela Williams signing, Mulkey may have 5 national titles in the next 5 years. Michaela's just super, and she's a super kid. If you watch Kim Mulkey's press conference yesterday, talked extensively about her. I've done a ton of stuff on Michaela Williams the last 2 years. I got some plans to do more. I know Jacques Doucet drove all the way up to Shreveport on Friday and has got a big feature on her. If you hadn't put it out on yet, I hope I didn't miss it.
I saw a snippet on it.
Oh, he put some of it out already?
Just a little bit of it.
Okay, but I'm sure he's got a big package. If he puts it out, I'll share it. But I know he did some stuff with Gary Reedus. I think he's working on a really big, maybe one of them jock talk things he probably does. But no doubt about it. When you add her to Flaugier and everything else, holy smokes. And really neat today to see that picture they found of a little Angel Reese
with
Simone Augustus.
How cool is that?
That kind of reminds you of, who was the other one that we saw that was that was a fan of Montana or Tom Brady, and you always see little stories like that are just cool. Palermo Trapani, Les Miles is the one who got Monken into coaching, hired him at Oklahoma State, and he was a wide receiver passing game coordinator for LSU in 05 and 06. One of the OC when Jimbo left for Florida State. Todd Monken might have been the best wide receiver coach at LSU in decades. He was fantastic.
Yeah, he did a great job for
He
Georgia.
he calls a great game, too.
He does. He called a great game Monday night.
I can't believe somebody's not coming and stealing him.
I asked my buddy Pete Cardelli about that, and he said he's probably because he's getting up there in age. And, look, he was at Southern Miss, excuse me, with NIL, transfer portal, mamas and daddies, and third-team guys saying why I'm not playing. It's not. Look, Brian Kelly, he's 61. He is staying young with the duties at LSU, and the great thing about it, Tiger fans, he's loving it. And so I'm excited to see the progress they make from year 1 to year 2.
All right, guys, we had a bang-up show tonight. Thanks to all you guys participating, putting us over the 17,000 mark. Go to TigerBait, subscribe for $1. Hit the like button, subscribe button on the way out. And we got a lot coming your way on our YouTube channel and on TigerBait.com. And we'll be back here. Oh, by the way, Preston is doing his show tomorrow night, and he's got a big-time guest that he's excited about. So we'll have a live show tomorrow night with Preston Guy. All right, good night.